Welcome, everyone. We are so excited that you've chosen to spend your Saturday with us, especially as we wrap up our month-long online workshops about adulting. Next slide, please. We'd like to acknowledge the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council for funding the adult workshop series, as well as for the future planning workbook that we've been utilizing throughout the workshop sessions. So today, our wrap up. So I'm really excited to share with all of you to hear some different voices today about what adulting means to them, as well as hear from all of you. So we'll have a portion that's a panel, and then today we're going to do a lot of engaging with each other. Next slide, please. So it'll be a little different. We don't really have content like we've had the last 4 weeks to share with you, but we have a panel of experts to talk about their own transition experiences with you all. And then we want to hear from all of you about your experiences and plans for the future. And then what we've mentioned throughout, we will also have a raffle. We have several prizes that we're going to give away at the end of the session. So it'll be a way to close out our workshop series. Next slide, please. So first, what we'd like to do is just get an idea for those who are on, which sessions did you attend? So if you could go to menti.com and put in the code. So we have our 4 sessions here. You can choose all of the sessions that you have attended. So we had our first session on person-centered planning. We had our second session on health and wellness, our third session on employment, and our 4th session on community living and relationships.
And if you feel more comfortable typing your answer into the chat box, please do so. We have team members here who can enter your answer into the Mentimeter that way.
We were really lucky to have a bunch of great speakers throughout the 4 weeks. And we're just curious to see, for those of you here who made it to the end in number 5, what else you were able to join. We'll give a little bit more time. Cheryl, well, we appreciate that this may be your first one in the series, but we thank you for coming. And it looks like Sunshine, thank you. You've been to all 5. Okay, so quite a few of you who are on today have gone to most of the sessions. That's great. All right, next slide. So we asked this question during our first session, during our person-centered planning in week 1, and we want to hear from you all again. In one word, what do you think of when you think of being an adult? So what does adulting mean to you? So go ahead and put in the one word on Menti. And as Jeff mentioned before, you know, if it's easier to put in the chat, we have members who can help get it in for you. And I think this might be Erica E. Montano asked, when will you have these sessions again? Well, we're planning that out, and we'll have some questions and some time to discuss that later on in the session. What might be some future opportunities for us that we'll have? Okay, so let's see. We have, for those, we have independent and getting a job is what it means to be an adult for some of you. Accountability. A job, yeah. Independent. Maturity, working, okay. A lot of people saying that, you know, being an adult means you're going to work, that you have a job. Being independent. Responsible, being responsible. Okay, wonderful. So we heard from you a little bit on what it means to be an adult. Now, what I'm really excited for is our panel of young people who are all in different stages, different parts of their adulthood, who are going to share with you some of their experiences and what adulting means to them. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves, right? So let's start. Calvin, would you like to unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Hi, hello. My name is Calvin Cook. I am a Christian. I am 30 years of age. I have a spinal cord injury and traumatic brain injury, and I use a wheelchair for mobility. I do poetry, and I make music. I am pursuing my master's degree in social work at Arizona State University. I am the president of a self-advocacy group that encourages and empowers people with disabilities. And I also do a lot of other work for the disability community. And one thing that I am hopeful for is establishing a nonprofit organization that will benefit many disadvantaged populations. Thank you.
Thank you. Claire, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Claire. I'm 20 years old. I identify as an autistic person. I am going to Pima Community College to get an associate's in music and elementary education. I am also the youth chair of Pima Community of Practice, where I work on goals and programs for transitioning youth with disabilities.
Great, thank you. Gabe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Gabe Martinez. I'm 24 years old. Currently, I'm at the University of Arizona, working at Snoring AC Ed. And my future goals, I want to be in the office and to be office assistant, helping with young adults to find jobs.
Great, wonderful. Thank you. Amira, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
You're muted, Corinne. Thank you.
All right, my name's Amira Hepner, and currently I'm going to school at the Arizona State School for the Deaf and Blind. And I'm a senior right now in high school. So after I graduate this year in May of 2021, my plan is to transfer or go to work at the School for the Deaf as a youth, working with the youth and those who have disabilities.
Great, thank you. I'm so excited for the four of you to tell us a little bit more about your experiences today. So, Calvin, what does it mean to be an adult to you?
For me, adulting means to be integral, embracing integrity, to be the same person in all settings that I am in. I aim to be a responsible and respectable adult, handling what is necessary for me to reach my goals in life, and striving to keep the image of that one being has proven to be most beneficial for my well-being overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. Claire?
Adulting means having the freedom and responsibility to make your own choices, and you've also lived enough experience and gained maturity that you develop new perspectives on the world and in your relationships.
Thank you, Claire. Gabe, what does adulting mean to you?
To me, to be responsible, to contribute to society, to work, pay taxes, vote, etc., to grow, to continue to learn, to be self-sufficient, to be able to take care of myself, and to have a family.
Great, thank you, Gabe. And Amira, what does being an adult mean to you?
Come on.
So adulting to me means that I can learn to be independent. For example, I can do my own laundry, I can cook. It also means that I can manage my own budget, taking care of any of my bank business, or whenever I get ready to go to work, I can save. I have that ability to save money and budget well so that I don't blow my money or waste my money doing other things. And yeah, so the budgeting part, taking care of things, really making sure that I manage my money well. And then also, I feel like it also means that I can be responsible. I handle communication well, letting work know if I'm not going to be at work, sending an email if I'm sick, and just having good, clear communication with other people that I work with. So I'm hoping to get more familiar and learn to become more responsible so that I'm not depending on other people to do things for me. So that's what adulting means to me, is just being able to do things for myself.
Okay, great, thank you. So, I mean, I heard a lot of similar themes between the four of you about what adulting means, as well as to what our attendees said earlier in the word cloud. A lot of you mentioned working, being responsible, being independent, and being accountable for, you know, the things that you're doing, right? And taking care and managing some of those things for yourselves. Great. Let's go to our next question. I'd love for you to share about what you are happy or proud about. So what successes you've had. Calvin?
Yes, I am happy and proud that I have experience working part-time at a nonprofit organization. I have accomplished acquiring my associate's and my bachelor's degree. I have completed a 5-song mixtape project, and I also have excuse me. I also have completed some original songs. I have gone through the Arizona Youth Leadership. Excuse me. I have gone through the Arizona Youth Leadership Forum program. I have completed their Arizona Youth Engagement Academy training, and I have facilitated and staffed for them.
Great. Thank you, Calvin. Vanessa, I saw that you have your hand raised. If we can finish, I'll come back to you after we ask our panelists this question. I'll come back and come back to you, okay? So, Calvin, yeah, you've accomplished quite a few things already, and that's great. All things to be proud about. Claire, what about you?
I am proud of going to all state and all national choir and participating in Arizona Youth Leadership Forum and being able to staff in that and speak at disability conferences and advocate about that. And for all that, I would like to thank my friends and family members who have supported me and just taking the initiative to do all those things myself.
Oh, that's great, yes. Gabe, what are you happy or proud about?
I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my coworkers give me good experiences to complete all webinars and for achieve this success. I get support from my family and my coworkers.
Okay, thank you. Amira, what are you happy or proud about?
I am proud to be and African American, and I am proud of the success I've had at the in the Arizona Youth Leadership Forum, and getting through that program. That's it.
What would you say has helped you achieve this success, Amira?
I finished the I finished a lot of the individual things, you know, doing everything on my own. I didn't give up. was able to fill out any paperwork I needed. And then I've also had a lot of family support, but I didn't give up. I just persevered and pushed through. And I think that's contributed to my success.
That's wonderful. And I don't know if I missed for Calvin or Claire, if there was anything you wanted to add about what has helped you to achieve the success that you've had.
Yes, I recognize that I forgot to mention that. I would say that my family and the disability community has been very supportive, and God, my faith in God has been very helpful.
Thank you. Claire, was there anything you wanted to add?
Just having supportive friends and family and having the confidence to do those things myself.
Gabe, do you have anything you'd like to add about what's helped you to achieve your success?
To my family and my coworkers for their support.
So it really sounds like one second, Vanessa, real
Hi,
quick.
this is Vanessa Montalisi. Can you hear me?
Yes, if you could wait 1 second, we'll have a time for you all to share as well in the audience, okay? Thank you. One of the things that I love hearing from the four of you is that you hear the importance of relationships and support from people around you, as well as just pride in being who you are, whether that's your race, ethnicity, your disability. And so I appreciate all of you sharing those, your thoughts about what makes you proud and happy. Next question. So you all have shared what's, what you're proud of and kind of the really positive pieces of what's going on for you right now. But what part of being an adult feels hard? Like, what challenges have you experienced as you've moved into adulthood? Calvin?
For me, balancing life and pressure. I have felt pressured a lot, like comparing myself with others and comparing myself with not being where they are and then being ahead of where I am, and overall trying to balance life and that pressure that can happen has been stressful. I have been stressed out a lot, not now, but like before. But yeah, that has are we supposed to mention how we overcome it right
Yes.
now?
Yes. How have you dealt with those challenges?
Okay, great. Yeah. So all of that can be stressful, but I remember the day clearly, like it was yesterday. I was running late to one of my meetings with my self-advocacy group, and I just thought, you know what, like this is out of my hands, and I'm not late because of me. So I'm just gonna let it be. And now I live by um, um, I cannot handle what is out of my hands. So, that helps me not stress so much. And it's been better as I've progressed in my adulthood. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. And I can say that trying to find that balance in adulthood is hard for all of us, right? We all kind of struggle with that different times and different ways, and it'll kind of be, I know especially right now with the pandemic, I know trying to find that balance has been really hard for me too. So I really appreciate you talking about and sharing, you know, about balance and how stress can affect you, but you can find ways to help cope with that, right? Claire, what about you? What feels hard about being an adult?
Well, for me, going into being an adult, I found that self-advocacy was a whole nother step up because you have to ask for almost everything yourself because you're an adult and know how to articulate it effectively. And also people tend to not take you seriously if you're an adult with a disability because there are still people who believe the mental age theory, meaning that they believe that you're still a kid mentally and have these stigmas and don't take you seriously and assume you have a guardian and stuff like that.
So how have you dealt with some of those challenges?
Well, I've just really learned about myself and known what helps me to succeed and why I need it and my accommodations, and I also just speak at events like these to help better educate people.
Thank you. And yeah, those are, it can be tough, you know, putting yourself out there, and but those are skills you can learn, right? And it sounds like you've really put in some work to learn more about yourself and what you need so you can tell others, right? Gabe, what about you? What part of being an adult feels hard?
To get judged at, and for challenges, people don't take me seriously at times. People don't see me as an adult, they see me as a disabled child.
And how do you deal with that?
It makes me like sad. What I can do, just focus on you, just focus on forward, keep on pushing it, and don't be down, just be happy and go forward.
And do live your best life, right? And hopefully others will eventually see how capable you are and will treat you as the adult you are, right? I can see how that can be frustrating. Thank you, Gabe, for sharing that. Yes, Gabe, well said. Amira, what about you? What part of being an adult feels hard?
What's challenging to me is I have a really difficult time trying to balance everything, trying to limit, you know, the stress and trying to catch up on homework, not getting too behind on anything. Like with Zoom, this is very difficult because there's so many things going on at the same time, a lot of technical issues, a lot of things that I can't deal with. So that becomes stressful. So just having a hard time trying to fix a lot of the problems that takes up a lot of my time. And so trying to make sure that the interpreter gets connected to every class that I need to be and trying to resolve those problems, that's a challenge.
And so how do you deal with some of those challenges, Amira?
Well, I try to discuss things with my mom and try to come up with solutions. She helps me a lot with trying to figure out how to reduce my stress and how to catch up with my homework. She explains a lot of things to help clarify things and helps me, focus on how to handle myself and how to balance everything. Yeah, so how to calm myself down, to take a break, maybe to meditate and not feel like I have to just keep rushing around. So
And you mentioned a good point, Amira, about how you turn to your mom sometimes for help when you're having challenges. So this is to the whole panel. I know this is kind of, we didn't talk about this earlier, but do you all, when times get tough and you're having these challenges, do you have someone you turn to talk about those challenges or to help you with them?
I have a close friend that I can always hit up if I'm ever experiencing problems.
Great, close friend. Yeah.
I've been struggling to find one specific person. Um, for me, I feel like just being around others that are similar to me, like people with disabilities. I feel like just being around similar people is what helps me.
Okay. Gabe?
If I'm like struggling with something,
Mhm.
I'm go with my family to talk about it.
Okay. Good. I'm glad that you all have those support systems or ways of trying to, you know, or even seeking out people to just be able to share openly with what's going on and hope and maybe find solutions on how to deal with them. Thank you. And I like seeing that. I see I just want to acknowledge what's happening in the chat box. I see some of you guys are sharing also your own personal, like, who you turn to when you're struggling with things. That's great. Your brother, your sister, family and close friends. I think that is really important, those relationships we have, right? They can help us get through some tough times. Next question. So this is our final question from me to the panel before we open it up to our audience. So what advice or recommendations would you give to other youth and young adults as they transition to adulthood? Calvin?
I would say break away from individuals who may be hindering or holding you back. I know once I started to do that, I started to, it was like, it was like I started to transform overnight. I would say also, get involved with others doing what you truly are interested in, and um, push yourself to take initiative and take chances. I know many times I felt like I would fail at something, but then later I felt like me not even trying that thing was how I failed. So I'm getting better at taking chances and initiative, and I've really seen the benefits of doing that. Um, I feel like by doing that, other opportunities have become available to me, such as being on this panel. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you, Calvin. I'm glad you're here with us today. But it can be scary to to take those steps and try something new, but it can open a bunch of doors for you when you do that. Claire, what about you? What advice or recommendations do you have?
Well, kind of going off of what I said earlier about knowing yourself, you should also know what your strengths and weaknesses are, as well as your likes and dislikes, and also use that to plan for your future rather than what people say you should do, because sometimes people like to think they can talk over you just because you have a disability and they know it's best, but no one knows you better than you. And you also need to put yourself out there, and disability is a part of you and something to embrace, but it should never be the reason why you don't go out and do something you want to, because going out there and making community connections, you never know what opportunities you'll get just by doing that, such as me speaking on this panel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are all great points, Claire. Gabe, what advice or recommendations do you have for others?
For my advice for others, to set goals, learn new skills, become more independent, and take on challenges. Try to do chores or tasks with minimal help. Ask for help when needed. As your family and friends as examples for accessible adults.
Yeah, I love that advice too. Seek models of people, as well as, you know, try to do what you can on your own, and when you know you need some help, don't be afraid to ask for it. That's great. Thank you, Gabe. Amira, what about you? What advice and recommendations do you have for other young people?
As a deaf person, I know that I can do anything. I can have access to jobs. There's multiple things people can do despite the fact they're deaf. Sometimes access is difficult, but you can do it. You just have to let people know what you need in order to have that access. And so you need to set up a plan, have a list, know what your needs are, and what opportunities you might have as you become an adult. And you really have to try your best to advocate for yourself, make sure you have that access, make a plan in advance, let people know. And if people try to judge you, just ignore that. You need to learn as much as you can, learn how to become independent, how to get things done.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Amira. You bring up great points too. I hear a theme from the four of you of how important it is to not only know about yourself and what your needs are, so that you can really advocate for yourself to go after and do what you want in life, right? And I will say, even me in my late 30s, I still struggle with trying to decide what is it that I want and need, and who I can turn to for help to do that. And so I just love hearing from the four of you that you all have a plan, and you know that there might be some challenging times, but you just got to keep moving forward and figure it out, right, to make it happen. So with that, we're going to move and allow all of you to ask some questions of our panel. I saw, I think, a couple in the chat that you're welcome to either unmute and ask yourself, or we can voice it for you. So let's see. I do have one question here. I believe from Erica, what advice would you give to providers or those who provide support to other young and young adults as they transition to adulthood? Does anyone on our panel want to answer that question?
Don't underestimate them, and the best, and don't go off of the diagnosis or the disability, because the best way to learn about what they need and what works best for them is to get to know them, and to be very encouraging and supportive of their goals, and do what you can so they can get there.
I was wondering if you can repeat the question.
Sure, Calvin. What advice would you give to providers or those who provide support to other youth or young adults as they transition to adulthood?
Yeah, I would suggest that they listen to the individual. I feel like it is important to listen and to meet people where they are. We are all at different stages in our life, even if we are at the same age. I feel like there's so much going on, and it can affect us all differently. So I feel like it is important to listen and to empathize with the individual and to be patient. I feel like we all just need to be a little more patient.
Amira or Gabe, did you want to answer that question about advice for providers?
So any providers has like different spots to like different young adults, any ages, have different things to say, and they just speak out, hear their voices out, and if they hear their voices out, they'll come and help each young adult to find jobs and find what places what they like to work at and what in their office to learn and help them out and focus on what tasks to be done.
Okay, thank you. Amir, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I'd like to add that in transitioning to adulthood, if there's issues with access, you have to help the individual ask for whatever they need in terms of gaining access. I can't understand.
They can contact VR services or seek help from their other state organizations. So there's a lot of different types of groups that can help recognize what help you might need. So for example,
You're losing her.
if you're having a hard time finding a job, that individual can talk to the person, to a person at Voc Rehab or someone to assist them with finding the right job that matches their skills. Sometimes it's difficult to know what you want to do, and so there are different organizations that can help you do that. There are different services that can help you do that. So just knowing how to contact those organizations.
Thank you, Amira. So Vanessa, I want to—
Can you hear me?
Yes, I appreciate your patience for waiting. And so go ahead, ask your question or provide your comment.
I'm sorry. My phone is really bad at doing this stuff because I just got moved. So my information was you guys said, what does the future have? What is it again? It was something about future, right? But does it go for something, or is this a different instruction?
Oh, Vanessa, I'm sorry. It was breaking up for me. I'm not sure I heard everything you said or understood your question. I'm sorry.
Okay, my question. I'll just say what I got. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So with me, I know everyone. I always feel like I'm left out in my own family because I'm like the odd one, and also I'm adopted. And I'm so grateful that I have my sister with me still. She's my real sister. But the problem is, I always feel left out, no matter what it is. Like from my adopted mother, my adopted father. It takes a toll and it makes me stressed out every day. To prove, mostly it's to my adopted mother because I'm trying to prove something to her, and she, you know, she doesn't give gratitude back. I don't know how to make her happy that what I am, and I know I'm special, but she treats me like a child too. And I understand what Gabe said about that.
Yeah. And so are you able to talk with your sister about that or others?
Well, I told to cope. It's a behavior clinic and special needs clinic to talk out your problems, because I feel like every day I want to cry because I'm trying to prove something to somebody, but I'm already proving what I am. Who I am is better than to not have a family member who doesn't really care about that situation. I mean, I care for myself. I mean, I could care for other people if they give me a chance. That would make me most appreciated. I don't care if they say thank you, as long as I make their smile on their face.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you sharing, Vanessa, and I'm glad that you have access to both your sister and services that can help you with some of those things. And it sounds like you do have, you know, a good amount of trust and faith in yourself as well. So I thank you for sharing. Do we have any other questions for our panel before we move on? We can take one more.
Okay, so you said that something about the future and how to make a goal for yourself. I put a couple of things. I put a job, a lifestyle, how we live, be determined, exercise, how can I control myself? Example, if I'm mad, I always find a way to fix it. So it's like saying that you can do whatever you want in your life, and make yourself feel special. Don't let nobody put you down. That's pretty much what I meant. Don't let them put you down. You're special, and that's how it goes. And we are proud to be special because we are unique in all different ways.
Yes, thank you, Vanessa. Each one of us is all unique in our own way. I see a message in here from Dakota. You're new. We welcome you joining us today. You haven't really missed much of anything when you joined. We've all just, we've heard from our 4 panelists. And I think we're going to move now right on to this next session, because now we have some questions for you all so that we can hear more about your experiences, okay? So,
Okay.
So let's see. We want to know a little bit about you. We're going to go to Mentimeter, and you guys are going to get a chance to tell us a bit about how you spend your time. Okay, so we'll go to menti.com, put in the code 3397277, and there's a couple different options here, and I'll read them for you all. In case you can make your screen bigger too, if that'll help. We have, so what are you currently doing now? How are you spending your time? Do you go to high school? If you do, you'll want to check that box. If you're going to college, if you're working. And I want to just make sure, you can pick more than one. Pick all of the ones that apply to you. So we have go to high school, go to college, working, hanging out with friends, volunteering, if you go to a day program, if you participate in sports, if you're dating, if you're learning a new skill, and if there is an other, if you're doing something else other than that.
Hey, JC, just wanted to chime in, say something real quick. I set the mentee for this one to choose only one. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. All right,
Apologies.
well, that's okay. Okay, well then why don't people just tell us? Just tell us what, if you're doing any of these things.
Well, to keep myself busy, I draw because I'm actually 32 years old right now. So to make time go by since this coronavirus, I used to be in Special Olympics. I'm now also in Maryland instead of being in Arizona, but I do miss my friends in Special Olympics up there. I also join clubs. I have written to the President of the United States, the Obama person. I asked for help, but there are a lot of busy up there. But I did get a letter back saying we're proud of what you do, because I do a club called the Quantum's Action Club a long time ago that helped the community by going to nursing homes and singing to them and dancing with them. That was the time before the coronavirus, but the club is still going. It's called the Quantum's Action Club, and it was a very good thing to do for the community. We love doing other events like raising money for cancer, tendonitis, tetanus for the ladies up in Africa that needs it for the shots. And I've done a lot of things in my lifetime. Right now I'm doing nothing because I don't work, and it makes me upset and depressed because I'm not doing anything with my future yet. And I'm already old enough to do other things, and I can't because I feel always depressed not to do it anymore. I mean, I want to help more people because I see homeless people out there during this time right now, and I feel like I need to do something for them. I feel like I needed to get out there and help, but right now I can't.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa, for sharing. We've had some in the chat, some people talking about things that they're currently doing right now. We have some young people who are in college, who are volunteering. Is there anyone else who wants to share?
Do you want me to say it?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Is that Dakota? Is that you? Go
Yep,
ahead.
that's
Yes, that's me.
Mhm.
Yes, I do go to college. I go to Grand Canyon University. I'm 26. I hang out with my friends.
Mhm.
I do not go to the day program, and I enjoyed playing sports and not dating.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that, Dakota. Welcome. I'm glad we got to hear from you. And then we
Thank
have
you.
also Nathan said that he spends his time going to college and hanging out with his girlfriend. Great. Okay. So let's go to the next question, because now we want to hear a little bit about the goals and plans that you have. So again, this is in Menti, if you can. Jeff, is this one only allowed to choose one?
Yeah,
as well?
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so you're welcome to put maybe your top goal. because you can only choose one right now rather than multiple, but then we can share and talk about it if of other goals that you might have. So maybe if you have a goal for going to college, to get a job, maybe taking charge of your health care more, like you're going to be more involved in that. Maybe you have a goal of learning something new, getting involved in new activities. Maybe a goal you have is making friends, or it's also maybe having a girlfriend, boyfriend, or partner.
My new goal is to have a new boyfriend because I'm like I told you, I'm old enough to do other things, but I really feel lonely sometimes. It's just out here doing nothing. It's horrible, and I don't drive, so it makes it even worse. And I really want to drive, but I can't do that because a doctor said I'm really bad at seeing at night. So I'm like, why can't I just drive in the morning? But, yeah. So it's being someone I like or love, someday.
Yeah. I think those are also important goals to have too. We kind of think of sometimes that it might just have to do with a job or kind of, school or something like that. But we can also, some of our goals have to deal with kind of some of the relationships we want to have, right? Because that's an important part of being can be an important part of what makes us happy in our lives every day, right? And so I think that's more than, I think that's also an important goal to have. And so other folks have talked about getting a job as being a top goal, as well as being more involved in their health, taking charge of that for themselves, and getting involved in new activities. So because we touched on some of these relationships, and for any of you who were here last week, we had some follow-up homework. So if we can go to the next slide. At our last week's session, we talked about Dr. Yumi Shirai and some of our panelists. Vanessa was one of them. Talked about being part of the community and relationships. And so we had some follow-up questions about what other relationships you would like to have and what you can do to make new relationships. So we've heard from Vanessa about wanting to find a significant other, someone to love and as one type of relationship. What about anyone else?
Do you want me to chime in too?
Sure, you can chime in, Dakota.
Okay, I would like to have a girlfriend right now, but not during this pandemic time. But this is a topic that I'm still working on.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to be in a relationship. It's hard.
It is.
And it's about communicating what you want and need. And I do have a support system around me that I can always go to. And I have nothing else to say, so.
Thank you, Dakota. You are right on the money because relationships are hard. They're hard to keep and maintain and make work well. So I think those are all very well said. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Anyone else?
Everyone says that it's kind of difficult to have a relationship with a neighbor, but it is like, for me, when I was living when I was younger, to communicate with the community, I went to the door next door and would make pie or something. And I didn't notice that the lady was older, but I still became friends with her. And she would help me learn how to sew and learn how to help me with my anger problems or my stressing problems. She said, let it out, just talk about it. It was so funny at the time, but it was it was great to have someone impact my life, especially her, my friend Carol. She was one of those persons that especially made my life in my community.
Thank you, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
And
Well,
I see we
I
have a few
something.
other comments in the, sorry.
Amir here, I have something.
Yes, Amira.
So for relationships, I know that it's difficult, especially for me, to be deaf. It's difficult to communicate in the non-deaf community. But if someone would want to learn to sign, if they're taking classes or whatever, that's great. So if they do that, then it makes it a lot easier for me to have a relationship with them. But if they're not willing to make that effort to learn to communicate in my language, then that can really mess up the relationship. So I have to think about those choices as a deaf individual. If it's another deaf person, that's fine. Everything works out really well. But if it's a person who's not deaf, it can be a little bit more of a challenge. And I have to see that they're willing to make that effort.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I think we see that for, anyone who uses another language and trying to be part of, make friends sometimes can be difficult, whether it's ASL or English, Spanish, Japanese, who knows, but it can be hard to find that communications. But if you're willing to make an effort, that can go a long way for building and starting a relationship, right? Thank you, Amira. That was a great point. We did have a few other comments in the chat. And let's see, about, and I know right now, especially during COVID, it's probably even more difficult to be around friends and maintaining some of those relationships. I see Dominic said that he'd like to see his friends more often. He'd also like to have a girlfriend. We have folks talking about, let's see,
with relationship, I also would like to have a friend here because I look around around here, and since the coronavirus event has been going around, I feel like I want to go back to where I used to live because there's friends there. Here, there's no one to talk to because I just started off living here, and that's one retaining thing that happens to a lot of us. When we move, we don't lose our friends, but how do you say it? We miss them. And it's great thing about the video chats, but it's still hard.
And kind of, Vanessa, what you bring up actually connects to what Cheryl has shared in the chat about, when you move seeing my sons without long-term friendships is heartbreaking. They've had friends, but most have moved away. So whether you move or some people move away, that can be really difficult. And how do we build some of these connections for folks? And from what has already been shared today, we had some of the young people talk about trying to find others who have the same interests as you to kind of build some of those networks and connections. So if you really enjoy, whether it's playing video games or crafting, there's a group out there somewhere that likes to do those things too, right? Other people. And so there are different ways to try to find some of those communities, and that we have online now can make it easy sometimes to find those groups. So I know there's like meetup.com. There's a couple of different just online groups to find where people have similar interests, whether it's in person or it happens online. I don't know if anyone else has any ideas they'd like to share about that.
Yes. I was gonna put it in the chat, but I believe that there's a lot of groups on Facebook
Mhm.
I feel like Facebook is a good way to find people that you can connect with that share your similar interests.
Mhm. I'm going to ask a quick question in case Amir hasn't seen it in the chat. Is what is the best approach to learn sign language? This has been a goal of mine. If you, or if anyone else has any ideas, but I thought I might direct this to Amira.
Most colleges offer it for something you can take for your second language requirement. In fact, I'm taking ASL 101 this semester.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So me, I do books. I'm learning Spanish, and I write it in English to Spanish, and then I repeat it. But it says, or you go on your phone and learn. If you have phone, it does this. Google will turn it. You say how to learn this language, and it'll go to an app called Transaction or Trans. I say it. It's a different way of transitioning the English to the Spanish, and that's how I learned how to deliver words in Spanish. But I can understand it, but I can't speak it. I can speak it a little bit. And that's the big thing about the internet. But there's other ways. There's books, libraries, magazines, writing it down, and repeating the word by writing it down at the same time. You know?
Thanks, Vanessa. I just realized the time, and I hate to cut you off, so I apologize, Vanessa, but we have a couple more questions to get through, and then we still have the raffle to do. So we need to try to get this all in the next 12 minutes. Okay. Jeff, why don't we go to the next slide, please?
If you don't mind, Amira wants to add something.
Oh, yes, please, Amira. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So for learning sign language, of course, you know, the biggest part of doing that with learning ASL or Spanish or any other language, really, for me, of course, I can't learn another language, another spoken language. So ASL is the only, ASL and English are all I have, but that would be hard to try to learn something. So signing or gesturing or just understanding other people's perspectives, it's different. It's different than learning any other language. Learning sign language is different, you know. All of the different languages, whether it be Hindu or Spanish or whatever, it's just different than learning ASL because ASL is more visual.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Amira. So what I'd like to hear from folks, and I want to make sure that some of the folks we haven't really had a chance to hear from who'd like to speak up can. What steps are you taking towards transition? So you can put in the chat or you can unmute and talk. So
Who was on the question again?
well, Vanessa, if you can, we've heard, you know, we've heard a lot from you. Jane, I want to give some people an opportunity. So we have, what steps are you taking towards transition? What steps are you taking towards transition? And so, you know, you can put in the chat if, you know, others want to unmute and also share any steps they're taking. We'd love to hear from you.
What does transition mean?
So that's a great question, Dakota.
It means
So,
moving on to adulthood, going beyond high school, growing up, learning how to do your own things.
Okay, so I'm gonna chime in on this one. I have a checklist that I follow every day in the morning, and I ask my mom to print it off for me, so that way I can follow it from from the beginning when I wake up, and and I know transition is hard to go through. So it's that point of time that can someone help me? I'm stuck.
That's okay. So it sounds like, Dakota, you use a checklist to help you kind of move forward with your day and all the things you want to do for the day, right? And so,
Yeah.
go ahead. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Going, like I said, going through transition is hard. So, like you said, I do have a checklist that I follow from when I wake up. And I still have stuff to do in the afternoon. And it might be repeating myself.
No, it's okay.
Do you want me to show you my checklist and give people a visual of what it is?
If you feel comfortable sharing that, but you don't have to, it's okay.
I can
Does
give you
Karen
guys a I can give you guys a visual of it. That's fine.
Well, okay. Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you. And that helps keep you on track, Dakota?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Great. And then I don't want to miss out what some people are saying in the chat box. We have that, Nathan's looking forward to transitioning from college to getting a job, and that VR is helping him with finding a job by helping with creating a cover letter and resume. That's great. Let's see, did I miss anyone else?
Yes.
Did someone say that?
You missed me.
Sorry, Vanessa. You mean what's in your chat? What you put in the
Yeah.
chat? Routine, your routine, your marker board, or your list. So you also use kind of something like what Dakota does to keep yourself on track. Great.
Yes, yes, I do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So-
and Amira here. So yeah, I put in the chat box too. I don't know if you saw what I said, but I'll just go ahead and tell you. I'm really excited to become a good teacher, and work with the students and teach them signs and all of the different parts of being deaf, and so I know there's a lot of kids that their families are not deaf, and so it's difficult for them to really understand what it means to be deaf. So I'm excited to work with them so that they can see that, because I know a lot of them are not used to using interpreters. They use their voice a lot more going from home to school, and trying to show them the difference there. So I'm really excited to work with them on that.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Amira.
Dominic
Okay.
added in the chat, attending workability.
Right, so that's an employment training program. Great. So you can take part in different services. And it looks like Claire also did that as well. Very cool. So let's skip the next question, Jeff, and go over to the 2 slides. Let's see. So let's go to what information resources do you need or want to be an adult? So you can type that in the chat or in menti.com. If there are other, this could also help us as our center to make sure that we're working on things that can really be helpful and useful to you. So if you have ideas on what information and resources you'd like that would help for being adult, let us know. So Dominic says he would like to learn how to drive. Okay.
What do you mean resource?
So it could be a resource, could be, a brochure or a toolkit on a certain topic. It could be a training on something. It could be
I don't know what this still means. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. So it could be information and as someone put out, to get a job, like, so more information on how to get a job. So that's one area, okay?
Okay. So with that, now I understand it. I have a packet that I looked on the internet with. It is a packet on how to do a resume, how to do brush your teeth. Special Olympics gave me the website of it. It's something resource.com or org or something, and they helped me out with learning how to read. So, like I said, resume, how to get the job, how to keep the job, how to all sorts of things, and also how to exercise, how to do all sorts of other things. I got that paper off online thing.
Okay.
Okay.
And thank you. And it sounds like that Dakota has some support people that help to find resources that he needs.
I do.
Okay, good. Well, you can continue to think about this, and if things come up, you can always send us your ideas, okay? Let's go to the next one. So this is, how do you feel after joining the adulting workshops? So this is a Menti poll. This one, Jeff did a great job finding some awesome gifts and pictures to go with these. Do you feel excited? Do you feel motivated? Maybe you feel a little more confused after attending some of these workshops. Or maybe you're not sure how you feel, or you feel something else completely altogether. So someone saying they feel excited, we got people feeling motivated, not sure.
I feel excited about this, but I know I missed a couple of workshops, but
Yeah. Well, we do plan on having them available later, the recorded set workshops we had, and we hope to do some other events in the future too. So we'll have those available, Dakota.
so when do you guys have that available?
We should have that sometime soon, sometime in September. We'll make sure everything's available to everyone, and we'll let folks know. We'll send it out, okay? Thank you for reminding me to share that information. Okay, so people are feeling excited. They're also feeling motivated, and some not sure. Great, thank you. All right. We have another quick question that's just a yes or no answer about, did your idea of being an adult change since what is this, since July? So since this month, has your idea of being an adult changed at all? Yes? Nope? What do you think?
Yes.
Oh, some people, yes, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, a lot of people are saying yes. Okay. Well, great. That's good to see that whether it was small or big little changes, but it sounds like all of you who've answered this, that there's been some change in the way you think about what it means to be an adult. Thank you for participating in that. Let's go to the next one. Are there other things that you want the Sonoran USAID, so that's our center who's been putting on the workshop series, that you would like for us to talk about or do?
Can I chime in on this one?
Sure, Dakota.
I so myself, I work from home on Zoom, and I work through a company called Community Options,
Okay.
and I know this is a hard topic for all of you guys, but it's about sex on how to be appropriate with it. And I want other people to know, like, how to communicate in a relationship, how to do boundaries, like personal space. And I know all of us are working on personal boundaries. And I am wanting, and is there some is there some people that might benefit from this is there people that can benefit from this panel that can benefit with sex?
So I missed the last part, that the benefit. I missed the last part that you said. I'm sorry, Dakota.
Oh, I said, is there any people that from our platform can benefit from this?
Oh, from some trainings that are about like healthier relationships and boundaries and even sexual relationships. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. I think that has been coming up more. And, you know, as an adult, people want to have relationships, and how can we do that safely? So I think that's a great point to bring up, Dakota.
Do you want me to give you a contact information, or?
You can share information if you like by sending it to me, or to in the chat if you want to put information there as a resource. That would be great.
And
Okay.
Dakota, Lynn Tomasa also sent you a message saying that you can contact her, and her email address is in the chat box.
So some of what people are saying they'd like to see our center doing is around relationships, whether it's developing relationships or the kind of appropriate relationships, doing more on cooking, driving, other activities in the community. I missed that one, like also with friendships, maybe developing friendships, looking at dreams versus goals, just I guess distinguishing between those, as well as cultural competency. Okay, these are all great ideas. We really appreciate hearing from you all. We just want to thank all of our partners. On behalf of the adulting team at the Sonoran USAID, we want to thank our major funder, the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council, And then we want to thank Diversability Incorporated, Artworks, and Special Olympics of Arizona, who really helped us with bringing in all of our co-presenters with us. So all of the young people who have presented on each of these sessions. We want to thank all of you. You've done an amazing job, and we appreciate you sharing all of your experiences and insights. I also want to thank Carmen Noriega, who has been our Spanish language interpreter for all of the workshops, as well as translating all of our materials for the series. And many thanks to all of our ASL interpreters and captioners that were provided through the University of Arizona Disability Resource Center for the entire workshop series. And I have to give a big shout out to Jeff Javier from our team, who has made sure that these have run smoothly for all 5 weeks. We couldn't have done this without him. And most importantly, we really just want to thank everyone who has attended and shown up to all of these sessions. And so you can reach us on our website. You can join our listserv to get our newsletter, where we will keep you up to date if we have new sessions that will come up, and trainings and opportunities to our center. We're also on all the social media, so you can find us and follow us there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we will notify everyone when all the recordings from the Adulting Workshop series is available publicly to everyone, okay? And last but not least, we have one more ask of you to please do our evaluation. Give us your feedback about your experience with our workshop series. So I apologize that we went over, but it was lots of great discussion from everybody. And so we hope that we'll see you again in future activities, and have a great rest of your weekend.